Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Valdez signs, Skubal wins arbitration, and are the Yankees and the Phillies the same team? It's New York Minute Sports. It's New York sports for New York nuts. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. So Skubal wins arbitration with the Detroit Tigers. Real quick, for people that don't know what arbitration is, Skubal wants one price, the Tigers want one price. They hire an independent negotiator. He comes in and finds a fair price for both the player and the team. Skubal lands on $32.5 million a year in his last year with the Detroit Tigers. But you know what? Ring the alarm bells, because the Tigers have a problem, and the rest of Major League Baseball might have a problem. Let me explain. Skubal's been asking for money for the Detroit Tigers for how long now? Skubal has back-to-back Cy Young awards. Skubal's around 30 years of age. He's been the most dominant left-handed pitcher in all of Major League Baseball for the last 4 years. Now, the Tigers go out and get Valdez from the Houston Astros. I know he's a free agent. 3 years, $121 million. He's making $38.5 million a year. Makes him the highest paid left-handed pitcher in all of baseball. Higher than Blake Snell, higher than Max Fried. So now the guy that threw at his catcher, the guy that I heard all the Major League Baseball talking heads that pitch might have cost him $100 million. That pitch might have cost him $25 million. That guy got a $16 million pay increase, and it just shows in Major League Baseball it never pays to be a good guy. And, in fact, Skubal, speaking of not good guys, broke Juan Soto's arbitration record of 32.5 by $1 million. But my question is, for the team like the Detroit Tigers that wouldn't pay Skubal for the last 4 years, and they go out and give Valdez $6 more million in him, is something wrong with Skubal? Do the Detroit Tigers know that there's a Tommy John surgery looming? Do they know that he's starting to run out of gas? Do they know that he has a lot of mileage on his engine for a guy that's only 30 years of age, and is a surgery looming that's going to knock him out for 1.5 years, just like Garrett Cole and the Yankees saw last year? So there is a lot of question marks around the Detroit Tigers for a team with a loaf of bread under their arm, crying poverty to everybody else, now has two dominant starting pitchers on their staff. And for a team that played very well and they collapsed at the end of last year, and the Guardians played out of their minds, even with Skubal, now the Detroit Tigers, I think, have the green light to move Skubal. That's right. I don't think they're going to keep him, and it makes no sense to, and I'll break it down. Remember what I told you about the LA Dodgers and the impending death blow? And how they've been building this Death Star out in California? They're already the bad guys of baseball. Everybody is already blaming the impending strike on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Everybody says the Dodgers are ruining baseball. Well, guess what? The Dodgers are about to tell you to hold their beer, because I think the LA Dodgers were waiting for this arbitration process to be over between Skubal and Detroit, because it's kind of hard to get a free agent when he doesn't have a set contract. So now, or trade for a guy. So Skubal, the arbitration's over. And I think this is when the Dodgers come in and they press the button on the Death Star and go acquire Skubal from the Tigers. It's about contracts. He's a 1-year rental, $32 million. Now you know what his salary is. The Dodgers have the #1 farm system in all of Major League Baseball. They already got a stacked team. What stops them from giving them the 6 top prospects? Because payroll does not matter. They defer money. They pay $128 million in luxury tax for Kyle Tucker. So money is not an issue. Give them all the farm, and they go get Skubal. I don't know if it's going to happen, but guess what? If it's anyone that can make it happen and be more hated throughout all of Major League Baseball, it's the LA Dodgers. Now, the New York Yankees. I don't want them to make a move for Skubal. I don't want them giving up Spencer Jones, Lombard Jr., Jason Dominguez, whoever it is for a one-year rental. As a New York Yankee fan, I am out on the one-year rentals. Because what happens is they either break our heart like Juan Soto and go cross town, or they hold us hostage for the whole offseason, and we're not allowed to make moves, or we're limited in the moves that we can make. But we can't sit here and think that the New York Yankees won this offseason, that they did a good job this offseason. Did they retain everybody back and they're going to run it back? Yes. And are they still a good team? Absolutely. But there is a lot of right-handed bats that you left on the table that other teams went out and got when you should have made these moves. And sometimes, like I've said on this program before, New York Minute, NEWYRKMIN, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere on that smoke wagon, you call the information superhighway, we got you covered. Sometimes the best moves you can make is so other people in the division don't get the guys that you don't want playing against you. For instance, IKF signed to the Boston Red Sox. Didn't even really need him. But guess what? He's a right-hand contact bat who's a good defensive replacement late in games. I know we need another infielder like we need a hole in the head, but he can play left field. Remember when he was platooning in left field and he played everywhere other than selling hot dogs on the New York Yankees? I know he's not a blockbuster name, not even close to it, but that's a right-handed. The Yankees are too left-handed and need to get right-handed. Another guy like Donovan from the St. Louis Cardinals goes to the Mariners. The Yankees couldn't have made a move like that. That was the dude that we wanted. Hits for a high average, table setter, just like the New York Knicks. The Yankees need a point guard. Knicks got a point guard today, and I'll be talking about that on our live broadcast. But that's neither here nor there. Then you get a guy like Suarez, who got traded from the Diamondbacks, who the Yankees were in on during the trade deadline last year, and the price got too high. Leaves the Mariners, goes to the Cincinnati Reds for $15 million. Are you kidding me? Yankees, you can afford $15 million more as a luxury piece when you have 49 home runs coming off your bench. Who cares if he's long in the tooth? Who cares if he plays poor defense? We've been doing that the whole time. I don't want to see Ahmad Rosario. I'd rather see Suarez and Ryan McMahon at third base if you're going to run a platoon. Suarez can play the first 6 innings. Then you've been Ryan McMahon as a defensive replacement, man. I just don't know. The moves that the New York Yankees made this offseason were underwhelming. You know who's another team that's getting a lot of gas for making underwhelming moves this offseason is the Philadelphia Phillies. And we got Joel Sherman on Foul Territory talking about how the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Yankees might be the same exact team.
Moving on here on Fair Territory before we take our first break. Smart or silly of these teams, Ken, to run it back in 2026. And what I mean by that is basically running it back with the same exact personnel. We will start with the New York Yankees. Not a ton of difference in terms of additions, but they will get Garrett Cole and Luis Gil back.
Yes, and maybe Clark Schmidt as well. And people forget, and I don't want to be a Yankees apologist here. I'm not trying to be a Yankees apologist.
Do it.
But
Do
they did
it.
win 94 games last year. They did lose to the team that came within 2 outs of winning the World Series in the playoffs. I'm talking, of course, about the Toronto Blue Jays. They did not have a bad year. No, they didn't win the World Series, but they had a really good year. So
the Yankees are resilient every year, just like Brian Cashman. I've said this too. That's why I'm half a Brian Cashman shill. I go to fire Brian Cashman night, and then I'm a Brian Cashman shill. Trust me, I can't figure it out myself. 32 years without a losing season, and I think it gets overlooked. Just like I used to say about Alex Rodriguez's career with the New York Yankees. When you're that good all the time, it gets overlooked, and people take it for granted, and they don't appreciate greatness. The New York Yankees winning consistency is bar none. You know what? Bust our balls all you want about the 15 years without a World Series. That's great. I don't see anybody else other than the Red Sox in our division winning anything.
to come back with essentially the same cast, and that's what this is for the most part. Okay, but they made some moves at the deadline to supplement their bullpen. Those guys will be back this year, Bednar and Doval. Those were off-season moves as well. And I am comfortable with them with where they are. Could they be better? Sure. And certainly once Cole and Heel and possibly Schmidt get back, they could be a lot better because they didn't have Cole for much of last year. So
what kind of Garrett Cole are we going to get back on the New York Yankees? He's been out for a long time. Is everybody going to take the next step in their development? Is there going to be any sophomore jinx for Ben Rice? Is there going to be Jason Dominguez taking another step? I think if Jason Dominguez gets the reps, he should. I think he's going to take a large step next year. So the Yankees, this is a big question mark. Spring training, offseason. And what I think the Yankees are doing are they're going to hedge their bets. I think they're going to wait to the trade deadline, see where the pieces fall in the first 3 to 4 months of the season, see who is consistent, because guys will rise, guys will fall, people will win the jobs. And then the New York Yankees can decide who's the future of this team and who's not. Because it's very rare for us New York Yankee fans to have a team on the come up. Usually we have old guys that are slow and unathletic. And now we have a youth team that is developing and taking the next step. So we're like, hey, where is everybody? But the guys in house are the guys.
We'll see how it goes with them, but I did not hate their offseason once they got Bellinger back in the fold. They're okay. They're not going to be maybe the most dominant team, but they're certainly in the mix to be a World Series contender. I don't know that there's much question about that.
I misspoke. Carlos Rodon, obviously, is who I'm talking about to go with Garrett Cole and that he's starting.
Rodon, yes, not Hill. Yes.
Sorry about that. That's my bad. All right.
My bad too.
The Philadelphia Phillies. Now, I will say this, though, before we stomp.
And the reason that I wanted to say about this, that the New York Yankees and the Phillies are kind of the same team. If you think about it, they kind of like, since Joe Girardi was the manager over there, they kind of run the same system. Power arms. They strike out all the time. They hit a bunch of bombs. You know, you got a superstar in Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper. You got a masher, Giancarlo Stanton and Schwarber. It's like two teams that play the same style of football in the NFL. And the Philadelphia Phillies, very eerily similar with the fans. I got to admit, I hate to admit it as a New York Yankees fan, but we're very similar to the city of Boston. I mean, the city of Philadelphia. We're very similar to the city of Philadelphia, but a lot of people have been comparing the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Phillies offseason this year. And I have to admit, I see a lot of similarities.
On them a little bit. They were close. At least they did do their due diligence and tried to get Bo Bichette. They did not get him. But are the Phillies smart or silly to try to run it back with that personnel?
Ideally, they would have wanted to change the mix a little bit. They've been talking about doing that for quite some time now. And Bo Bichette would have done that, would have accomplished that, would have given them another right-handed hitter, would have enabled them to trade Alec Bohm, which they certainly could do anyway, but they don't have a replacement without Bichette. I liked the move for them in that sense. What they're doing, obviously, is essentially running it back. They've changed out some pieces.
Yeah, man, if they got Bo Bichette, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper at first base, that'd be a pretty good infield. But the Philadelphia Phillies are in major problems. I think the Atlanta Braves, after the year that they had last year, are going to come storming back this year. The Mets, they're going to be definitely competitive. That NL East is going to be a meat grinder this year, and we're going to be breaking it down with Mike from Pudgy Boy Sports, handling our National League news, and I got you right here, all the American League news that we need, right? And I got you covered for all the American League news you need right here on New York Minute Sports, guys. We're going to be keeping an eye on all the latest news in Major League Baseball. I think something is going to break, a big move between now and pitchers and catchers. We got until February 11th. We got 6 days until pitchers and catchers. So keep your eye out on any major moves for Skubal or the New York Yankees adding a bat, or there is some reports that the Baltimore Orioles are looking at Zach Gallen right now. So for all my Orioles fans out there, Zach Gallen might be your guy, but the New York Yankees are interested. And what I got to say about Zach Gallen is, if he's going to join the New York Yankees, is he a right-handed power bat? Is he? And are you a power fan of New York Minute Sports? It's NEWYRKMIN on Instagram, and it's New York Sports for New York Nuts, baby. And remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Good night, Canada. Bye.